For 3 months, I was wrong about the burning bush. I was researching something else entirely. The Sinai expedition records of George Edward Post, a doctor and botanist who spent 40 years walking the deserts of the Levant in the late 1800s. I was looking for notes on acacia. What I found instead was a margin scribble in a 1932 reprint of his Flora of Syria, Palestine, and Sinai. 3 words in pencil. See sneh again. That sent me down a rabbit hole I have not climbed out of. Because the burning bush, the one in Exodus 3, the one that defines Moses and frames every Western idea of revelation, may not be what you have been told it is. The Hebrew text gives us a clue most pastors miss. Modern botany gives us 3 real candidates for a plant that can burn without dying. And the answer, as best as I can reconstruct it, sits at the collision of a Hebrew pun, a parasitic flower, and a fight between 2 Cambridge scholars that nobody tells you about. Stay with me. The verse is short, Exodus 3:2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. 11 words, doing a lot of work. The Hebrew word for bush in this passage is esneh. Not a generic word. Sneh is a dislegomenon, a word that appears only twice in the entire Hebrew Bible. Once here in Exodus 3, and once again in Deuteronomy 33:16, where Moses blesses the tribe of Joseph and refers to God as him that dwelt in the bush. That is it. 2 appearances. Total. And here is what almost every English Sunday school skips. Sneh and Sinai share consonants. In unpointed Hebrew, the kind that appears in actual Torah scrolls without vowel marks, the words look almost identical. Wikipedia notes this is likely a deliberate pun, a feature common in Hebrew biblical writing. Charles David Isbell, a scholar at Louisiana State University, argued in 2020 that the pun is the point. The mountain of God and the bush of God are, linguistically, the same word twice. The author of Exodus is telling you these are not 2 separate symbols, they are one. So if the writer picked sneh on purpose, then a real plant was likely in his head. We can hunt it. Candidate 1, Dictamnus albus. The gas plant. The popular name in English nurseries is, with no irony, the burning bush. Colin Tudge writes about it in The Secret Life of Trees. The plant secretes a volatile oil from its glands, mostly isoprene, and on hot, windless days the oil pools in the air around the leaves. Hold a match near it, and the air ignites. Brief blue flame. The plant itself is unharmed. There is YouTube footage of this. It is real. It is also wrong. 2 problems. First, Dictamnus albus does not grow in the Sinai. Its native range is the Caucasus and southern Europe. Second, and this is the argument that Cambridge physicist Colin Humphreys makes in his 2003 book, The Miracles of Exodus. The gas plant fire flares for a second and goes out. Exodus describes a sustained fire that Moses walks toward. He has time to notice it, time to think, time to turn aside. A flash of blue flame would not pass that test. Humphreys is the same scholar who proposed the volcanic mountain theory of Sinai, so he is not exactly a religious skeptic. He just does the math. Candidate 2. Loranthus acaciae. This one is the dark horse, and it is the one most popular YouTube videos either miss or misrepresent. Loranthus acaciae is a parasitic mistletoe. It grows on acacia trees which carpet the wadis of the Sinai. In spring, the parasite produces dense clusters of bright crimson flowers packed so tightly along the host branches that from 20 or 30 feet away, the entire acacia looks like it is on fire. The Encyclopedia Judaica entry on the burning bush lists this as a serious candidate. The Bedouin name for the parasite is Ica. The flowers can persist for weeks. Now think about Moses. He is a fugitive shepherd. He has been in Midian for 40 years according to the text. He is leading sheep on the backside of the desert. He sees an acacia at dawn with the sun behind it, glowing crimson. He walks toward it. The fire does not go out. The bush is not consumed because the flowers are not burning. They just look like it. That fits Exodus 3 better than any flash of blue isoprene. Candidate 3. Euphorbia, the pencil cactus. The popular claim is that its sap glows in desert heat, suggesting a luminescent fire effect. I want to be careful here. I spent a full afternoon trying to find a peer-reviewed source for that glow. There is not one. The luminescence claim shows up in Christian mystery YouTube videos starting around 2018, and it traces back to a single uncited blog post that has since been republished 100 times. Euphorbia sap is real. It is milky, caustic, toxic enough to blister your skin. It does not glow. If you have seen a video that says it does, ask the creator where the citation is. They will not have one. I checked. Stop for a second. Wind on the Sinai Plateau in late spring comes from the southeast, off the Gulf of Aqaba, and it carries red dust that gets into everything. Your eyes, your boots, the corners of your notebook. The light at 6 in the morning is a kind of pale gold I have only seen in that one part of the world. The Bedouin guides who walk hikers up Jebel Musa, the traditional Mount Sinai, will tell you the mountain is not silent. It is loud, wind through wadis, loose stones falling, the hum of insects in the acacia at dawn. Whatever Moses saw, he saw it in a place that does not feel empty. It feels watched. Make of that what you will. There is a fourth candidate, I owe you. The supernatural reading. The bush burned because God set it on fire and chose not to let it burn down. Most documentaries treat this as the cop-out. I do not. Here is the move that changed how I read Exodus 3. For 3 months, I assumed the goal was to find the real bush, the one that explains the miracle away. I was wrong. The text does not ask you to pick. It uses a specific word, sneh, that puns on Sinai. It describes a phenomenon, fire that does not consume, that maps cleanly onto a real botanical event, the Loranthus on acacia visual. And it places the encounter at a mountain where actual plants behave in ways that look to a tired shepherd at dawn, exactly like what the text says. The miracle is not the absence of botany. The miracle, if there is one, is the precision. There is also a third academic theory worth surfacing. Israeli archaeologist Emmanuel Anati spent years working at Har Karkom, a mountain in the southern Negev with rock art dating to the 3rd millennium BCE. Anati argued that the burning bush could be sunlight reflecting off mineral deposits on the slopes of Har Karkom in a way that produces a fire-like visual. It is a minority view. It also is the only one that explains why a shepherd from 40 miles out might walk towards something he saw on a mountainside. And then there is St. Catherine's Monastery. 6th century. Built around what the monks claim is the actual original bush, transplanted and tended for 1,500 years. The species in the courtyard is Rubus sanctus, a bramble. Botanists have confirmed 2 things about it. 1, it is genuinely an old specimen of its kind. 2, Rubus sanctus does not grow naturally anywhere else nearby. Somebody planted it there. The question is whether somebody planted it in the year 540 when Justinian commissioned the monastery, or 1,300 years before Justinian was born. Nobody knows. Nobody can prove it either way. Here is where I land, and I want to hear where you land. The Hebrew word is a pun. The visual phenomenon is real. The location matches. The supernatural reading and the botanical reading are doing different jobs, and the text seems comfortable with both. My best guess, and it is a guess, is that Loranthus acaciae is the strongest single botanical candidate. The gas plant is geographically wrong and physically wrong on duration. The euphorbia glow is a YouTube myth. St. Catherine's bramble is a reverent fiction that became its own kind of truth. But you tell me, specifically, in the comments, if you have read something I missed, if you have walked the Sinai, if you have seen Loranthus on acacia in person, I want to know. I will read them.